just, how could you walk away from a band like that's successful, making that much money? You know, so that's why he stayed on. You know, that was a rumor I heard. Then sure enough, he finally quit the band, and guess what? He's playing with Voivod now.
I remember when Jason left the band, and somebody was asking me at the time, you know, when are they having tryouts for a new bass player? Why don't you go down there and try out? And I'm like, hey, listen, you know, I don't know why Jason left, but it's got to be a pretty good reason.
Jason is an amazing guy to play, to put up with that band for that long. And I wish him luck with Voivod. That's great.
In July 2002, after a 2.5-year break, brought on partly by illness and exhaustion, Metallica finally held auditions for a new bass player. This was considered partly a publicity stunt, but also to see if they could find a replacement.
Yeah, in July I emceed in a bassathon where the band jammed with people to be Metallica's bass player. And so anybody could come up and jam and join in, and I announced it, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like a big wrestling match, and they'd get up there and they'd play their licks, and there was several really good ones, good musicians, and Elena was definitely the best.
I volunteered to go first because I think people were kind of nervous, and I said, okay, I'll go first. And it was kind of set up an unplugged situation where everything was in a circle and all the people were around, all the equipment was set up, and the band's gear was set up. So I was standing there ready to go, and the band hadn't showed up. And I saw Lars sitting over, like, across from me, and he was like sitting there, and they're, okay, you ready to go? And I said to Lars, aren't you gonna play? And I misunderstood, and I thought that the band was gonna play with each of us as we, you know, had our little rounds and auditions. And it turns out that we had to play with the CD. So here I am standing there by myself in this circle with everyone staring at me, and then the CD starts. And it was Seek and Destroy. We were able to pick what we wanted to do. And I said, okay, I see I have to play to the CD and not with the band. So I started playing, and I noticed that I knew what was happening. It wasn't sounding right, it was out of tune. And what the situation was is the old albums, Kill 'Em All Through Master, they used to play in E, 440, tuned to E. But since then, they've tuned down to E flat, the low string. The bass I was playing was tuned to E flat, but the album was, of course, E, because it was the album. And so it was sounding terrible. And I'm going to get gonged. People are going to tell me boo and leave. So I stopped and I said, wait, the bass is out of tune. And their tech guy, they were confused for a moment. I said, yeah, the bass is tuned to E flat, and I'm playing to the CD, and it's, an E. So we stopped the competition, and I was like, oh no, because I just didn't want them to think, oh, she sucks, and it wasn't me, it was the bass being out of tune. And so he finally figured out, oh no, he didn't know that either. So he tuned it up to E, and then it was perfect. And I did the first round, and everyone, cheers and stuff. And then the next people who signed up, they all did theirs, and they either got booed or cheered, And then whoever made it through the first rounds got to play again. I think I did No Remorse the second time. And then to sum it up, at the very end, they picked the crowd picked the winners, and it was down to Andrew and me. And I thought there'd be one winner, but it actually ended up being two. And each of us winners got to play a full song with the band. And I did Seek and Destroy, and Andrew did Creeping Death. And it was very exhilarating. It was like I was in another world. It was incredible.
In the end, the band decided to go for a well-known bass player by the name of Robert Trujillo. They had spotted Robert playing in Ozzy Osbourne's band during the previous years.
Oh, Robert Trujillo is this amazing bass player. He was just with Ozzy, but he's played with a lot of people. And first time I saw him or heard of him, I saw him playing with Suicidal Tendencies about 10 years ago. And they were one of my favorite bands, and he was just like this. He blew all the other band members away. He was so good.
Yeah, Robert Trujillo is a very, very good bass player. And he would be more along Cliff's lines. He's a true, bass player and stuff. I think that's good for them.
It's good to know that they found a bass player, and I know that this guy is great. He's a great bass player. So we'll see.
2003, and finally with a complete lineup, Metallica once again set out to take the heavy metal world by storm.
We won't ever really know until all four of us get into the room and start hashing out ideas that we ever know what sort of direction the music will take. And if it steers into, like, you know, rock opera or something totally ridiculous like that, you know, why not? If it works for us, you know, why not?
Around for as long as they have, just because they stayed pretty much true to their roots. A lot of people think that the newer stuff isn't as good as their older stuff, whatever, but they've always done what they wanted to do.
They'll always be a force to be reckoned with. They're probably going to be like the Rolling Stones. You know, 20 years from now, they'll still be going in their 50s or whatever. You know.
I've actually wondered what the next 10 years would look like for Metallica, because clearly they don't have the same sense of purpose that I think was, you know, apparent from the beginning. You know, we want to really make the world heavier. We want to, you know, we want to kick some people's asses. I think people's asses have been kicked.
The next 5 years of Metallica is probably anyone's guess, only because of look what they've done in the last 10 years. And you could take that and think, okay, that's what they're going to do, but then you look at the last 20 years and, like, who knows?
The future of Metallica right now is really in the hands of their management team, their label, and themselves as a band.
Whether there's a metal scene or not, Metallica will always be around because they've just, you know, hit that pinnacle.
The position Metallica hold in the history of music is undeniable, as their influence and inspiration are still being heard today with the resurgence of heavy rock. Long may Metallica continue their place at the top.
If you had to say that Elvis was as big as he could get in rock and roll at his time, you'd have to say Metallica is as big as rock and roll can get at this time.